Hello, this is one of the short presentations to set up the panel discussion. We're here from Wyoming and Hamilton County to provide some input on how our program is working and to throw out the question, is a patchwork approach sustainable and long-term? Can it achieve what is needed? Rusty Herzog has been chief of Wyoming Police Department since 2015. He will join us for the panel discussion. He came on board with Wyoming police about the time that deer were becoming a problem in riparian areas, and as of November 11th this year, is also serving as our acting city manager. I'm Brad Bonham, a longtime resident. My career arc has persistently explored topics where public health integrates with veterinary medicine, urban forestry, and horticulture. Wyoming is a first ring suburb. We have about 3,200 housing units, and we cover less than 3 square miles. So at approximately 1,800 acres, we are smaller than some county parks. Wyoming abuts the north border of Cincinnati, so the rural-urban edge is in our rearview mirror. We face the constraints of near-full build-out with few large land parcels typically assumed appropriate for hunting. By 2015-16, we'd hit all the marks for launching an urban deer management program. Community meetings, data gathering, consultations with ODNR, Fish and Wildlife, so on and so forth. When our initial planned launch at the private golf course fell through, city leadership embraced the idea of piloting the program on the lots of 5 abutting property owners comprising about 10 residential acres. The first year was quite successful. Participants learned that hunter activity was hardly noticeable. Even better, removal of 21 deer that first year from our valley meant the backyards no longer smelled and looked like feedlots for beef cattle. As word got around to owners of other wooded lots, Wyoming has assessed and approved another 9 sites, some as small as 1 acre. About half of those sites are for skills-qualified, owner-only hunting access. The remainder rely on the team of qualified volunteer hunters. In our annual reports, the goals throughout have been to reduce deer vehicular accidents, reduce formal nuisance complaints, and maintain a healthy deer population based on the geographic size of the city's ecosystem, whatever that is. The first goal, deer vehicular accidents, was achieved quickly. Within the first 2 years, accidents had dropped 60 to 80%. That's easily measurable. They have not gone back up. Everybody's very happy with that. The formal nuisance complaints are likely trending down. They're somewhat inconsistent, perhaps due to limited data and a high mast year, which then was followed by a big spike in complaints the year following. And then in the background, you've got these increasing requests for site assessment and approval that are going on, and in fact, the growth from a single hunting site to 10 hunting sites now. So perhaps formal nuisance complaints are holding steady. As I believe is being addressed in other presentations today, the metric for a healthy deer population is shifting away from deer per square mile. That's always had some weaknesses in urban areas. Buildings and pavement cover much of the area, and where riparian and woodsy fragments were already struggling with invasive plant species. That's what sets up the patchwork. And what are your neighbors doing? Or perhaps, better asked, what can your neighbors do? Our neighboring communities are different in so many ways. Do they have the resources to launch and manage a UDMP? Do they have suitable hunting sites? Do they have community support? All this needs to be considered because no one community can have lasting impact alone or in isolation. So, in our 6th year of a UDMP, we've made some impact, gotten experience, and gained some insight. As we look up, step back, and take a wider view, it becomes apparent that deer are only a transient factor in what's going on. It is quite likely that these woodland fragments in urban areas are more important to urban public health factors than another green roof. Perhaps it's time to look beyond deer numbers and landscape damage. Perhaps it's time for communities, regions, city council managers, and planners to begin thinking holistically and with a longer range view. So, what if we reframe our thinking? What if urban deer are addressed as a factor affecting public health? Fewer deer vehicle accidents are good on multiple fronts. Shifting deer back from the curb to the creek greatly decreases the health costs of human pet exposure to tick-borne diseases, and fostering more diverse, self-regenerating woodland swatches builds more robust local ecosystems and cleaner air and cleaner water. Who should participate in the reframing? Well, I would suggest looking to your urban planners and regional councils of government like OKI down here in Southwest Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. These folks are already working on other angles where air, water, carbon capture, and more impact public health. Urge them to explore urban deer management concepts and impacts as additional factors. There's plenty of science to support this. And if we can speed up the knowledge transfer, perhaps we can have an impact before things become truly dire. As a foundation, I suggest starting with this 38-page report from Cornell University Extension. Released in 2014, It did not make it into widespread circulation until late 2016 or early 2017. So it's not like you're way behind in your reading at this point. In the report, Professor Blasi and his co-authors made clear that deer were destroying woodlands. Well, many of us have known this for 20 years, but they gave us some better assessment tools. Further, they clearly demonstrated that woodland self-regeneration was failing, and that this was easy to show to people who don't know how to read the woods with simple red oak seedling surveys. Further still, they demonstrated that woodland swatch degradation is reversible by tinkering with urban deer management program regulations to counteract the shortage of hunters, tags, and daylight and other factors that plague this task. Thus, the patchwork becomes more effective. Continued use of healthy deer population is probably inadequate as a stated goal. In urban areas, it's time to look at the work of Blasi and others, then recast this goal under the framework of a healthier regional urban environment. Deer are simply a factor in a much larger problem that should be addressed more broadly. This slide provides you the web links that you need to first down here for the 38-page report that came out in 2014. This will take you directly to that. And then up here, the top link takes you to the umbrella page, the opening page for this whole subsite at Cornell, where these folks have assembled a tremendous amount of information and gotten it quite well organized in the last several years. If you would like to reach out to either one of us after today's program, that information is provided for you also. I hope we have some good questions during the panel discussion and look forward to talking to you all. That's it.